Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that dominates in today's edition for Thursday, 9th October 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. LIAT Air expands to Colombia and Dominican Republic as the airline seeks to grow its routes. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. LIAT Air is preparing for future expansion across the Caribbean and into Central and South America. The carrier already serves more than 13 destinations in just over a year of operations. Chief Executive Officer Hafsa Abdulassam has confirmed that the Antigua-based carrier plans to launch new services to Cartagena, Colombia and Dominican Republic before the end of 2025. She provided the update during the recently concluded State of the Tourism Industry Conference, SOTIC 25 in Barbados. ABS's Teresa Goodwin reports.
The LIAT Air Chief Executive Officer notes that establishing much-needed regional connections remains a key part of the airline's mandate, and the new routes will play a crucial role in fulfilling that goal.
To Latin America, we've got Colombia, that will be operating this year, and Dominican Republic before year end as well. We've also got some new connections for Q1 of next year, but I'll keep down the wraps for now.
The airline CEO says since the airline's journey began in 2024, they have primarily been operating ATR aircraft. Plans are in the pipeline to introduce smaller planes in the new year as part of the expansion plans.
For 2026, we'll be introducing the narrow-body aircraft because we would have established ourselves much more, would have been much more entrenched, in the region. We are also analyzing the introduction or addition of the smaller aircraft, the 19-seater aircraft.
The airline CEO also commended the staff for their dedication and professionalism, emphasizing the airline's mission to connect people and places while providing safe and reliable flight services. Teresa Goodwin, ABS News.
Dozens are without electricity and many have been displaced after severe weather activities produced a rare tornado which led to structural damage, blown off roofs and flooding in parts of Western Trinidad on Tuesday. More in this TTT News item with Daniel John.
Residents of West Moorings, MacArthur Marquez, described the moment he witnessed his neighbor's roof being blown off as a tornado ripped through the area just around midday. The incident forced many to vacate their homes due to the severe damage. Minister of Rural Development and Local Government Khadija Amin was on the ground visiting the victims.
Some houses, the entire roof was ripped off. Some houses were damaged from debris flying in the wind. Thankfully, we have not had any injuries to persons. So we will continue to visit. I am here with our disaster management team. Field officers will be doing assessments to determine in terms of the damages. We have damages to the infrastructure, but also damages to furniture, appliances.
Minister Amin confirmed that there was also damage to electricity infrastructures.
TNTEC initially shut off electricity in the entire area They have now been able to isolate the affected streets, and electricity has been restored to the main. So even areas as far as Mount Coco and so on that were affected, electricity is now restored. What we are also doing is, together with the fire services, visiting each household to advise people if it's safe to turn on electricity, because they lost their entire roof. Some of them, the entire structure is soaked. So even if they want to turn on electricity to use a power washer, for example, or to close their gate, which might be electronic, it may not be advisable to do so.
She described the incident as traumatic.
We have met children who are at home, alone, elderly persons, an elderly 90-year-old woman. And so for most families, of course, it is a very traumatic experience. So we are here giving them that support.
Also at the scene was Senior Disaster Management Coordinator at the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government, Jerry David, who was urging residents to secure their properties.
So I want to remind the country, during these times, secure your roofs. Make sure that tree that is near the house, you trim that tree, because anytime there's high winds, it's going to break the branches are going to fall on the homes, and it's going to destroy the roof, and sometimes inadvertently people will be damaged.
Cherry Crescent, Roland Road, Westland Avenue, and St. Anthony's Drive are some of the areas affected. Daniel John, CTT News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The stage is set for the first national budget under the new UNC government, with Finance Minister Devendranath Thakur scheduled to deliver his maiden fiscal presentation on October 13th. Urvashitawari Rupnarayan of TV6 News reports.
The first national budget under the new UNC administration will be presented on Monday, October 13th. Officials at the Finance Ministry are currently finalizing key documents and reports to support what will be Finance Minister Devendranath Thakur's first full fiscal package. Senior sources at the ministry tell TV6 News the presentation is expected to be a lengthy one, with a primary focus on what the UNC has described as widespread mismanagement under the previous PNM administration. It remains to be seen whether Minister Thakur will surpass the country's longest ever budget presentation, a record currently held by former Finance Minister Com Imbert, who spoke for 5 hours and 44 minutes during the 2024-2025 budget on September 30th. As anticipation builds, sources remain tight-lipped on whether this budget, the first of 5 expected over the UNC's term, will include any goodies for the public. The government has consistently cited economic mismanagement by the PNM as the root cause of the current economic hole facing Trinidad and Tobago. While this is Thakur's first full budget, it is technically not his first fiscal intervention. In June 2025, he tabled a mid-year budget review, the Finance Supplementary Appropriation Bill, which added approximately $3.1 billion to national expenditure. Now, the crunch is on. Once presented on October 30th, the budget must be debated and passed by October 31st to allow for the president's assent. This is necessary to ensure government operations can continue, including salary payments, project funding, and essential services. Under parliamentary procedure, the opposition leader is entitled to respond 3 days after the presentation, making Friday, October 17th, the likely date for her reply. With the Diwali holiday falling during the debate period, Parliament will have just 9 weekdays to complete the debate in both houses and secure the president's assent. While Parliament typically does not meet on weekends, urgent circumstances could warrant additional sittings, effectively extending the window by 4 extra days if required. The original 2025 national budget presented by the PNM was set at $59.741 billion, with major allocations including health at $7.571 billion, education and training at $7.512 billion. However, with the UNC's mid-year revision, the total budget now stands at just under $63 billion. The expected deficit for the fiscal year is $9.67 billion. TV6 will bring you full coverage of the budget presentation on October 13th, as well as the ensuing debate. Urvashi Tawari, Rupnarayan, TV6 News.
Guyana's longest-serving president, Bharat Jagdeo, has a bridge named in his honor. Travis Chase of HGP Nightly News has that story.
Built by China Railway Construction Corporation, a company which was sanctioned as a result of executive orders by Presidents Joe Biden and Donald Trump, the new US $260 million Demerara Harbor Bridge, which was commissioned on Sunday, has been named the Bharat Jagdeo River Bridge. This is according to President Irfan Ali, who delivered the feature address at the commissioning of the bridge.
Today, on behalf of a grateful people, I am pleased to dedicate this bridge in the name of Bharat Jagdeo. From this day forward, it shall be called the Bharat Jagdeo Demerara River Bridge. Because great men deserve recognition, because visionaries deserve legacies.
President Ali said Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, who was Guyana's longest-serving president, has dedicated his life to the advancement of Guyana since before 1999.
That has dedicated his life to the upliftment of this country. A man who has been an advisor, an architect, and an anchor in our development. Today, I want to pay tribute to a giant of our local politics and economy, Bharat Jagdeo.
According to President Ali, several Guyanese leaders will be recognized through projects to be undertaken by his government. Construction of the Bharat Jagdeo Demerara River Bridge began in December 22, 2022. It is a modern 4-lane high-span cable-stayed structure designed to accommodate both vehicular and pedestrian traffic. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro said his security forces prevented a false flag operation to plant explosives at the United States Embassy in the capital Caracas in order to heighten tensions with Washington amid a U.S. military build-up off the coast of the Latin American country.
This is a typical false flag operation, we could call it. A typical provocation operation to then create a scandal and use the communication power through networks and media to blame the Bolivarian government and start an escalation of confrontation where nobody's going to ask how it was done. Who did it? Where nobody's going to listen to anyone, but instead they're going to hear the rattling of machine guns and missiles. So, it was a provocation action.
He added the operation was intended to escalate tensions between Venezuela and the U.S., but President Maduro stated that two sources, one domestic and one international, had informed the government of the possible attack by what he referred to as extremist sectors of the local Venezuelan right.
Now it's been confirmed, and as soon as I personally was able to verify that in the information we had there was a credible and very destructive threat by the terrorist group that was taking care of this type of thing, I ordered Comrade Jorge Rodriguez to communicate through all channels with the United States government. He did it immediately. The reaction of the people who communicated with Jorge Rodriguez was positive.
Now, according to Maduro, the terror group may have placed an explosive device at the U.S. Embassy with the intent of laying blame of the Venezuelan government and provoking a conflict with the United States. He added that the operation was allegedly backed by individuals whose names will be disclosed in due course, and that investigations are still ongoing.
The investigation continues. I can say that this afternoon, Dr. Jorge Rodriguez, head of peace dialogues for Venezuela, officially informed the United States government of those responsible for preparing this terrorist attack and where those responsible are located. He also informed them that as far as we're concerned, we're pursuing the search and capture of some of these individuals who are in Venezuelan territory.
Now, the embassy has been largely inactive since March of 2019 following President Donald Trump's decision during his first term in office to break ties with Maduro. Since then, the embassy has maintained only staff responsible for security and the upkeep of the premises. Diplomatic tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela have only been compounded by a series of recent U.S. military strikes targeting Venezuelan vessels, which Washington claims were carrying drugs. At least 4 vessels have been attacked in the past few weeks, with over 20 people reported killed in these strikes. Speaking to the U.S. Navy sailors in Virginia, President Trump described the operations as stopping drugs at an unprecedented level.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.